In the entertainment industry, professionals of all disciplines use their skills to create what we know and love. This series explores the minds of the men and women who work in this demanding field. These are their stories.
We one day we gonna do it behind the scenes, behind the glass. Hey everybody, this is EDDIEBOWER here. Fourth episode of Behind the Glass. I can't even, get into all the accolades of my guest today. Um, so many. I mean, the artists and the names are just. First of all, 40 years in music. That's amazing within itself. And
That's true. Okay.
yes, 40 years. He's been doing this as long as I've been born. So that's crazy. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Bobby Brown, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, Evelyn Champagne King, Howard Heward, David Foster. Uh, enough. I'm talking with a legend here,
I
ladies and
feel I
gentlemen.
feel old.
Mr. Tony Haynes. Sir, how you doing? And thank you for being on my show.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure, a privilege, an honor, a joy, and it's very groovy. In the words of Austin Powers, it's a bit of all right, baby.
That's what I tell my audience all the time. Education and entertaining are the two things I really want to bring with this platform, man. I mean, you have a tremendous amount of both. So I think my audience is going to get a treat today. Uh, as of the filming of this episode, my birthday is coming up.
Okay, happy birthday.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, why not launch my birthday week, so to speak, with a bomb ass guest like you? So, without getting uh, too off basis here, can you let my audience know uh, just your plethora of accomplishments and your what you have done in your career as a poet, as a songwriter, as a lyricist, a producer? Just give my audience the scoop on who Tony Haynes really is.
The scoop. The middle word of scoop is ooh. So it's
Ooh.
ooh. Is the excitement. So the scoop. I'm a word person. I do with words. I call myself an intellectual property creator, and that covers lyrics, novels, children's books, animation scripts, movie scripts, TV scripts, Broadway musicals, the lyrics, the music, well, the lyrics and the story. So letters, uh, business proposals, anything that encompasses words, that's what I'm into. So I can make them dance off the page, make them sit on the page, burn the page, enrage the page, engage the page, whatever it takes. And so I've written with or for or with everybody from Keith Sweat to Keith Washington to Jam and Lewis to David Foster, to Maurice White, Laney Stewart, Tricky Stewart, Koo Carell. Um, Started out in 1981 at 21.
Mhm.
So I'm here today. So I've basically done words. I've done words. So been on over 200 albums, which have sold over 60 million records around the world. Work, work,
Before you go on, I want people to really understand and fathom what he just said. Over 200 songs and over 60 million records sold over a 40-year career. And that's not, we're just talking about music. We're not even talking about the rest of the skills this man has. So y'all better pay attention. If no other episode, you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention today, tonight, whenever you watch it. So I just needed to let them know that before they get off kilter.
Okay, well, they're on kilter. They're
So I could only begin to imagine at a very young age, like when did you know that this was going to be your calling, your ability to create and script words in every discipline? Was it at a very young age, or did you have to develop that as you grew up?
Well, you develop as you grow up, but everybody has a gift or a talent or a germ to germinate to become something. So mine's always been words, or being a silver-tongued devil, or being able to convince you of something with utilizing words. And I also have a gift that developed later of finding words inside of words,
Mm-hmm.
that heighten the meaning of the word. So I'm that deep into words where you can look at the word believe and you could see the B and the E of the believe, and you could see the B and the E between the N. And within the word believe, you could spell evil, vile, lie, live,
Wow.
veil. And in the word believe, you can be what you believe. You can believe it's a lie. You can believe it's evil. You can look beyond the veil, and you could see and be what you believe. And in the word believe, you find the word evil. So I've learned how to take a word like that, in any word, find the other words, and do exercises to create a story based on that one word. And it gives words a heightened meaning. So I'm like a word freak.
Okay.
Word, word up.
Word. Now, originally, where are you from? Are you New York, or are you a more West Coast Cali guy?
I,
I mean,
I
I grew.
was I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana, moved to LA at the age of 1, moved to Compton at the age of 11. So
Oh,
I consider myself a Compton boy.
thank
Street,
you, thank you. Finally, finally, I found my tribe because when I moved, when my dad moved to Alabama, where he was born in Mobile, and a lot of people like dismiss the fact that when I tell them I'm from Compton, like, oh, have you seen Eazy-E or DJ Quick on the street? I'm like, come on, dude.
well,
So
what part of Compton you from?
I was born on East San Luis Street off of Bradfield. For those who don't know LA, shame on you. For those that know Compton, they all know exactly what I'm talking about. Compton Avenue, I was on the west side of Compton when I was born.
Are you by okay. Well, I'm from the little place called the Swamps. I grew up with DJ Yella, lived around the corner from me,
Oh
from me.
wow. Wow. DJ Yellow.
And I went to junior high school, in high school with Tiny Lister. Well, we knew him as Tommy Lister. He was a year older. He's 2 years older than me. His brother Keith was a year older. So I grew up with him.
Yeah. Uh Speaking of Tiny, I know he passed away recently, and shout out to him and his to his family especially for having a tremendous soul bless us with his talents and his ability to just you know be a lovable bully is what I like to call him. How did you
He,
know? What was your relationship with Tiny?
well, he wrestled and played track. We grew up together in junior high school, with kids. So, and he was a quiet guy back then, playing basketball, lifting weights, doing tracks. And then when we ran into each other later in life, we were always be like, they called me Gobbles. So it was like, what's up, Gobbles? I'm like, what's up? I never called him Tiny. I was always called him Tommy, because that's who I knew.
Hmm.
So, and last time I saw him was a few years ago in Santa Clarita. We hung out and had coffee. And it's just a great, I followed his career, just a great guy, that you knew when you were kids. So that was cool. He was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So I'm even more honored that I'm now with a Compton native. I mean, you're from Shreveport, but you're 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 representing my hometown, and
Well,
that goes way deep.
Enterprise Junior High, Compton High School. There you go.
All right, right.
Class of '78.
So after you got out of high school, is that when you really started to like focus on your music career? Which I mean, 40 years, man.
In high school. I was focused on it. I was writing lyrics in high school. During in high school they had George Clinton and the P Funk. Cycled. The Mothership Connection album, the
Hmm.
clones of Dr. Funkenstein, Earth, Wind and Fire. All that was big, and the words were big, and I really couldn't sing, and we had bands. So I was writing lyrics, and I was charging dudes like 50 cents to write a poem for their woman. Just I was I was Cyrano de Bergerac, the guy in the bushes giving the words what to say, and guys was getting women, and I was just getting nothing because who knows, but that's when it all was developing. It's like Chris Rock would say, Chris Rock
Yes.
got a book. I'm like, I got a lyric, I got a lyric. Want to read? Want a poem? And so it was interesting. My teachers saw potential in me. One of them gave me some books on Rod McEwen, the great poet, who was big in the '60s and '70s,
Hmm.
and I kept those books. I still have them. And then years later, I got on the board of NARIS, the Grammy people, the LA chapter, and Rod McEwen was on the board, this great poet. So I got a
Wow.
chance to tell him, my teacher turned me on to you in high school, and here I am sitting with you now. It was, so it's been that kind of life to where, you know, when I loved Quincy Jones and Maurice White and Philip Bailey and all those guys and Lewis Johnson. And then when I, got in my 20s, I was working with all these people, and they would call my house. And I was at home with my mama, and father, and they would call late, and my mother would hang up on Quincy Jones, and hang up in their faces. They would be like, I don't care if that's Quincy Jones. Shit, he called my house late. His ass gonna get hung up on. And
Oh
so,
my
but
goodness.
and I'm like, you want to meet all these stars? Why you hang up on them? Shit, they can't call my house after 8 o'clock. Your ass sleep. I'm like, okay. But the people that, to have Maurice White take you from the complex studio and drive you all the way home to Compton, meet your father is in your house in Compton. It's like you can only dream that.
Yeah, yeah.
And Maurice White says, well, he's in the studio. You come to the studio and he's producing Barbra Streisand, and you're hanging out with Barbra Streisand and Maurice, and you're like, whoa. So the music business offers that, where it's like a business where you can live your dreams. You can, do that. So that's always been fun. And
Yeah,
you can meet the people that you've dreamt about and work with them.
that 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 story right there. I mean, it's not really a story. It's a fact. But most people are like it gets past their head. But I've seen some of the same when you have that laser focus and just wanting to be the best at your craft wherever it might be, and you start getting these things that just influence you to just keep going. I mean, from having Maurice White, who, when my dad, I tell everybody this story about me playing his record players, and one of the first albums I grabbed is All in All, which is to me the
That's a
one
good one.
the one album that inspired me to become a musician was that album. Because I mean, every single song with such detail and such attention to just it was amazing. So when you finally got the chance to write with Maurice and uh, working with those guys, did it really hit you then? Like you are part of one of the greatest groups of all time, or
It hit me every day. When you get it, I had a Dodge Dart back then. You got in your Dodge Dart and you drove to Bel Air up the hill to his house, or you drive to catch the bus to Philip Bailey's house, or you catch the bus and you walk up that hill to Al McKay's house. It hits you right there. You're like, oh my, it never not hits you. And they give you the melody, you take it with you, you come back with the words, and they fix it here and there. They show, that it's like you're pinching yourself.
Yeah.
But that's almost in any field. If you admire somebody and you eventually work with them, some people will disappoint you and some people won't. But the fact that you've elevated to that next plateau and you're amongst the people that you admire, it's beautiful. You that's one of the things that keep you going,
Yeah.
and you go with it.
Well, that's one of the reasons why, and I wanted to do this on camera on the episode. Shout out to Pastor Kevin Vasquez. I love you, dude. I love your family. He is our mutual contact. He's a mutual friend. And when he
Shout out to Reverend Vasquez.
Yes, shout out to him. When he told me about, some of the people he know, including yourself, and I started looking at the of course the accolades and the stuff that you did. It just meant a lot to me that he would, actually open that door, so to speak, to, now I consider you a friend, and friends are hard to come by in this business, wouldn't you say?
How many of us have them, friends?
Was we can depend on, yes, indeed. So, did you lose a lot of friends, or did you lose a lot of people who you thought you were in your inner circle once you started to really get serious into this business and start getting those accolades?
Well, first, let me give my shout out to G1 and Dre. Also,
Thank you.
Dre had nothing but great things to say about you.
Oh, thank you, man.
And then here's my theory on friends. I have friends in my life, but everybody in life wants something, and a lot of times in my life, people would call and I would just say, what can Tony Haynes do for you? Because people want something. The greatest time in life is when people don't think you have anything going, and because you don't have all the stuff out, and you can really kind of, as you know this from being a musician, you could kind of woodshed and get your life to where you want it to be. You relate to everybody on the planet because you can walk into a room and smile and you could feel communion with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just look at it as we're all connected. And if I can do something for you, cool. But I'm just going, go get my coffee, go back home and write, write my scripts, write my books, and,
Yeah, just keep it moving, right?
Yep.
So you, who was the first major artist that you personally wrote for to, like, just open the door and then you went off running?
Well, I worked with Al McKay and David Bryant. And so Al McKay would really be the first. And through Al, we got, songs on the Spinners, Taste of Honey, and The Temptations, and so on. And then I met Skip Scarborough, who, super duper phenomenal legend, wrote for Earth, Wind and Fire,
Yes.
Bill Withers, everybody. And with, Skip introduced me to Maurice, and each person, and I met George Duke and wrote with him. So I had a philosophy that worked for me in the music business. It was the same one that worked for me as a survival technique in Compton, which was, if I know one person in every set or every gang, I won't get my ass whooped. So I knew one person in every gang, and that one person could vouch for me and say, "Man, that's Gobbles, man. Don't fuck him up." I'm sorry about that. Don't kick his ass, man. And so I, I, I would know one person in every clique in the music business, and that one person would turn me on to somebody who would turn me on to somebody, and it's like being an octopus and you having this out, and that's really networking. So I was a big networker to where I would, hang out and know the one person, and the one person would turn me on, and you look up and you're in all these different cliques and you're writing with everybody. And in those days, we had big cassette players, and they would give me the cassette, or I'd go by people's houses, and you meet their kids and you meet their wives, and they'd hang out, and it was really communal. So you would hear their stories. You could be at Jermaine Jackson's house, and him and Barry White was good friends, and you end up meeting Barry. Or you could be at Barry White's house and you meet the great Gene Page. Or you could be at studio with Ray Parker Jr. and you meet this person and that person. Or you with Maurice and you meet Miles Davis, or you meet Herbie Hancock, and you know it's and one by, and just people you meet people, and people base whether they like you or not on your energy, and back in those days it was your vibe. And vibe is, when they say I don't like your vibe, that's literally short for vibration, which is how you resonate as a human being, on what level you are. And Maurice would tell me all this stuff back when I was 21, and I was like, huh? But now it's all what we talk about and what we do. With sounds never dissipate, they only recreate to another place and time. You remember that, right?
Yes.
I'll write a song for you, right? From that album you like. So which means sounds never dissipate, they only recreate, which is your humanness. So when you die, your soul becomes energy, and you vibrate to another place in time. So he taught me about what's esoteric, where you see it on one level, but if you are deep, you see that same thing on a different level. So that's what friends are. That's what life is. That's what energy is. That's what songwriting is. And even the piano, with the low notes to the high notes, that's all vibration and energy. So where the dark is the low and the high is the light. And that's why in every Earth, Wind, and Fire song, the way, the day, the light, the night, you'll hear those rhymes. And the sound that they create are like light, way, day, light, night. And they're high vibrational. So
Wow.
that's really what life is.
And the funniest thing, and I think that is the reason why we're even doing this interview, and is I started getting into learning about the vibe or vibration of humans and what they give off, their aura, their spirit. And a lot of things in our life we actually attract. That's one of the things I'm starting to learn now. And
Everything,
yeah,
laws of
everything.
attraction.
Yes. And that's why I just wanted to, even a couple of months ago, I was really like procrastinating about actually doing the show. And now to say that it is more than what I can ever possibly think, I really do think it will get bigger and better. But just within the first few months, to be able to, go from all the guests to having, a legend like you in a, a, a positive spirit like you, yeah, I just think it speaks volumes to what you put in your head is what is creating your life. And you just exemplify that with that you was talking about.
You create it, brother. Yearn and learn is what you do. Stop, look what's behind you. Fame and love's gonna find you. Right on.
Hey,
So it's like, it's all in what they said.
Now
Make
I don't.
sure I don't lose my job.
Yeah. Now I don't know if
Hmm?
I don't know if people could actually see, but you got plaques all over your house. That wasn't just one spot.
Yeah, I got every wall,
Literally,
every wall.
literally every wall in your house has a gold or platinum plaque. Now, we talked a little bit about, you kind of grew
I
into
said 60 million. I wasn't joking.
but like I said, Tony, people don't. It doesn't fathom in their head because it's hard to believe 60 million, but that's literally, I mean, that's every wall in his house. And
Whole new wall now.
see, different wall, different part of the house, same result.
Different wall. Different wall.
uh, um, so, what is some advice that you can give to, say, a young artist, young musician, try to come into this day and age where, to be honest with you, I think it's actually easier to kind of make a following now as opposed to when you were coming out. But different strokes for
We
different folks.
didn't have internet. No, it is easier.
Yeah.
It is.
So, what is some advice you can give to, like, some of my listeners out there might be, want to get into being a songwriter or a lyricist, and they need to understand some of the play in the music business, not just learning how to write lyrics. What's some advice you can give them to on the business aspect of it?
You know, the cool advice I can give anybody is I Google everything. If I can't find it in Google, it can't be found. It's like we used to have to go to the dictionary, the library. Any question can be answered Googling it. You know, it's like they have so many things at their fingertips. They could build a website, they go on TikTok and they could get viral audiences. It's just so amazing at what you could do with no money.
Mm-hmm.
You could just like it's just amazing. So I'm actually learning myself because I, I'm following after Shonda Rhimes meets. Uh, All of a sudden I'm blanking out as I'm thinking.
Well,
Anyway,
most people know Shonda Rhimes. I wanted. I'm kind of blanking out
what's
too,
my
but
man's name?
uh,
Medea.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler
Tyler Perry.
Perry. Tyler Perry. I love him. So I'm really following in that genre now. My head's in the whole thing of creating television series, financing my studio,
Mm-hmm.
not an actual studio, but a studio business that creates and to be able to use the music aspect as leverage and be able to control the music. So I'm answering your question by saying carve out what it is you want to do and do it. And it's like when I used to hang out with Easy E, I knew so much about the music business. I knew more than he knew, but he was more successful because he did not know. And when you don't know how it's supposed to work, you have no fear. So it's
Uh,
hard. I won't say it's hard, but when you know something, you're quick to say, well, it don't work like this, my brother. This is how it works. And then that instills fear into a person. So I like to say to people, forget what everybody says, follow what works for you, because there's many paths to get to where you're going, and you will get there in the way you're supposed to get there.
yeah.
Because I might tell you, well, it don't work like this. Well, it didn't work like that for me. It
Right.
might work like that for you. There's certain things are common sense what things don't work, but overall, there's three things that I put in every story
Mm-hmm.
that I learned from watching Woody Allen movies. And I put these three things in everything in life. It's WWW, which is wit, wisdom, and whimsy. If you have that in everything you do, you will be successful because the wit will make people laugh. The wisdom will make people think. And the whimsy will bring them into adventure and into childhood and uplift their spirits. So even in what you're doing consciously to be successful, those three elements keep you laughing because laughter creates endorphins and endorphins heightens your imaginative spirit, which is why I'm always laughing and I'm singing everywhere I go and I'm doing that because it's easier to create and open up the good fairy of wisdom and knowledge and intellect when you're laughing and you're happy. Even if you're writing about pain, you start off laughing and happy, then you go into your tears and you write what you got to write.
Yeah, that just that whole notion of what you just gave right there, I think a lot of people should really pay attention to that because that's just not being a creator. That's really and truly how you should live your life. And I think you're a prime example
Now
of yeah, you're a prime example of that.
you just said something. You just said something that blew my mind.
Me?
Pay attention. No, you just said pay attention. Say it again. Say pay attention.
Pay
Say it.
attention. Pay attention. Yeah, and I mean,
And
mhm.
and the first and the first word pay means it's gonna cost you something. Pay
Yeah, see?
attention. You didn't say free attention. You didn't say free attention. You said pay attention, which means it costs something to get to that. Attention is not free. I'm gonna write something about that. Pay attention. Free,
look at
and
me.
then once you pay attention, then you free your mind. Pay free. And when your mind is free, your ass wow.
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
costs you something.
yeah. And look at me, giving the great Tony Haynes a little nugget. Just those two words. I'm telling you, man, it's
That's a great nugget.
uh so what do you have? I mean, you're 40 years deep, man. I can't even imagine what you got cooking up in your head for this next, this next century, this new millennium, this especially after what happened in 2020 with all the events going on. For me, I call it the pivot because
2020 was the best year ever.
yeah,
2020 was the best year ever because it brought in a new paradigm. You'll see. You'll see.
yeah, no, I totally see. That's why I call it. I'm actually writing a book called The Pivot, and one of the things it explains is how, for me personally, it really got me into that mindset that you were talking about earlier about tapping within to release the better part of yourself in whatever you do and whatever discipline in your life. And I think, the loss of jobs, of course, the loss of life, the economic shift, whatever you want to call it. Uh, Hopefully it got to a lot of people. I know it got to me. For some people, they're still kind of, you know, playing with the herd instead of trying to stand
You
out
are,
as a herd.
you are all that counts. All that counts is that it got to you.
Hmm.
All that matters because who you will touch, it will get to. If it just gets to you, is enough.
Yeah.
Because from you, the word universe starts with the you. And when you flip the word universe around, you get in you, I serve.
Wow. Wow. See? No more nuggets. More nuggets. By the way, I hope you know I'm writing all this stuff down.
That's cool. Most people do. So do I. I keep a little pad right near you, write stuff down because it comes from anywhere.
Yeah, it does come from anywhere. Even this platform, it just came out of nowhere for me. And then all of a sudden, I just, like I said, I stopped procrastinating and just said, just do it. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the audience. Don't worry about don't even worry about anything or how to do anything. Just do it. And from the first episode up to now,
If you build
it's
it,
been a
they will
blessing.
come.
Yeah, it has been a blessing. So look, I got a couple of quick what I call quick hitters. They're basically, quick, spontaneous questions just right off the head. And with you, oh yeah, we're about to have fun with this. uh, biggest respect for, and I know you got respect for all of them. Maurice White or Quincy Jones, and both of them you have met.
Yes, yes, I have. And I'm not going to answer the question because it's like oranges and apples.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are
But
legendary and talented, but
but
oh my goodness.
but the beautiful thing is Quincy is older. And, I I spent time with both. I spent probably more time with Maurice, but Quincy. We did a thing called Bugs Bunny meets the Dude. It never came out, but later I ended up working at Warner Brothers with Bugs Bunny in the whole thing. And Quincy, he was he gave me a quote on the back of my first poetry book that came out. Sean worked for Quincy, got Quincy to do quote. And whenever I did the Quincy, it's like big smiles. And take Maurice. That's like asking me to pick my mama or my daddy. So it's like, or to go to my daughter and say, which one? It's like, I'm going with the option of both.
Yeah, yeah. Although I know neither one of them would get offended if you pick one or the other, but yeah, that's very smart move. Uh, uh, do you have a favorite movie? Favorite, as a matter of fact, favorite song over your career that you either worked on or listened to that really hit home with you, that really resonated with you?
That I was involved with?
Either you were involved with or that you listened to and just kind of hit home with you.
Because I sent a song to a beautiful lady today that was sung by Howard Hewitt on the album he did on Elektra that I wrote with Zane Giles called Your Shadow. Shadow. And then George Howard also recorded an instrumental version of it, but that's my favorite of today.
Okay.
Because I used it in my Mac, and I was doing my Mac on. So beautiful lady. I still do try to get my Mac on.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong.
And my favorite movie. And my favorite movie is anybody who know me know my favorite movie. And it's Austin Powers 1, Austin Powers 2, and Austin Powers 3. Best movie ever. Austin Powers, baby.
Well, you know what? You were like the real life Austin Powers of the music business. That's for sure. Look at that. He's still walking through his house. Where are you taking me to?
I got a life-size. I've got a life-size pinup of Austin Powers. Well, this is also what I got you. This is all of my stuff for Warner Brothers.
That's
Children's
amazing.
books.
So now I didn't, kind of get into that. How fulfilling was that to write books for children? I'm always I think I'm at the point in my life at my age. I'm only 45, about to be 46 in a few days.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, and and I have an 8-year-old daughter, and to think of me giving back to her, and much less the entire generation of people like my daughter and any other child in this day and age. I mean, that could be the greatest gift I can have, with the exception of my life and trying to be the best I can be, regardless of how much money you make off of it. Um, what was that like to write a book for children? And forget the whole Warner Brothers part. How satisfying was that for you?
It's still satisfying. I did 34 children's books based on Pinky and the Brain, Looney Tunes, Animaniacs, and produced, 14 children's audio projects, and uh, directed Chick Hearn's vocals for the Warner Bros. Kids version of Space Jam. And I was a hands-on vocal director and all of that for the voiceovers, and so I love it, and I have a bunch of animated stuff. So all of the stuff will be coming out. I'm just giving you the early heads up. We're
Hey,
gonna do
that's what I
some
like.
really amazing stuff.
Right here, that's what I'm saying. Right here on
I've
behind
got
the glass, you're getting like insider industry stuff. Like, come on, man, stop it, just stop it.
it's, no, it's coming. I've over the last 7 years, I've taken the time out and I've written 54 scripts, and they are television scripts, movie scripts, musicals. And so now I'm partnering with a company to co-finance and finance the things and start to shoot some of the stuff to pitch it and put it out. Just can't say anything yet because I'm letting the ink dry.
Yeah,
But to move into this other aspect of life, at 60.
yeah, and I'm pretty
So I
sure.
don't act like I'm 60.
I was just
I'm
about to say that you probably got more energy than a 20-year-old right now. Uh, Man,
I do.
yeah. Hey, if you still going back get your old songs and using that to get women, you a boss, man. That's a boss move right
Well,
there.
it, it, it's one woman in particular, and she's a writer, producer, art curator, and just knows more about artists and music than I ever will know. Because it's hard for me to know a whole lot when you're too busy, writing it. You don't get a chance to really travel. And she's been all around the world 7, 8, or 8, 9, 10 times. So it's like, so I'm not even with my game. I got an alphabet I created that's above A. I'm coming with my Zungoomba game, some other stuff.
uh, uh, are you a sports fan at all?
I was yesterday, praying for Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You know,
For those who might be watching this later, during the filming of this episode, Tiger Woods, I mean, one of the greatest golfers I think of my generation, had an accident right around Palos Verdes. His truck ran off the road. They had him get him off with the jaws of life, and thankfully that I think he's going to be okay. He was having surgery. As we filming this episode here, but um, do you have any other favorite sports besides golf or other favorite athletes?
well, well, he took me to that. Well, basketball. But yesterday he took me to Kobe with Tiger. It was just like, I don't even know if I can make it through the day, kind of a thing, because I love sports. But
Mm-hmm.
and so my life is all about the highlights. I don't have time for the whole game, so I can watch the highlights and go crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, for me, everybody knows this. Magic and Kobe. Like, I mean, I'm LA native, LA born. All of that stuff, and the Lakers have always been my favorite sports team of all time, and those two are just like the epitome of Laker
Wow.
basketball to me. So, yeah, but glad
Well, I
that
was Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. I can go.
ah yeah, Elgin Baylor in L.A. is like he's one of the most underrated legends that I know, and I think it has a lot to do with his association with the Clippers more so than him as a basketball player?
That has everything to do with that. Everything to do with that, because he was a Laker. He was a Laker. Yes, everything.
Yeah,
That's what it was, brother.
yeah, that's a big disqualifier when you join not just another team, but the team down the hallway. Like, no.
No, but it would have been different if the Clippers had championships. Then it wouldn't matter. It's just that Elgin Baylor was like Bill Russell. You know, he's a winner.
Yeah.
You know, so. And I love sports, but I love sports from the position of owning the team. Not, you know, I'm like, in my mindset is own the team, own the team. I was really trying a few years ago to get a team in out in Anaheim. I bought a piece of an ABA team when they were playing at the Forum. So my mindset's always been there. You know?
Now, most people couldn't even fathom that. You had an opportunity to own an ABA team, and ABA was
own a piece of an ABA.
Yeah, now a piece of a team. I mean, the closest person I can think of is, of course, Magic, when he decided to try to get part of the Lakers, and of course his work with the Dodgers. Why aren't more celebrities and athletes doing that? Like, I think that would be a make sense move to try to be part of a sports franchise, whatever sport.
Well, a lot of them are. I think the best way to begin is through the stock market. Even if you bought one share of Boston Celtics or a publicly traded team, you own a piece of the team, even that one share. And I think just really doing more stock market things and more investing, even if it's only $1, it puts your spirit in the mindset ownership, and that's the energy you need to create to actually get where you're going. Everything is about energy.
Yeah.
It's not even about money. It's about energy, because the energy will create the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's what that's what this whole podcast. That's what this whole podcast, Tony. I mean,
and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say this for you. It works because people always think something's gonna work only because you're doing good. It works. The principles work whether you're doing good or whether you're doing bad.
Mm-hmm.
Example: there was a guy just like you and me, put the headphones on 40 years ago, and he said, I want to be a radio person. I want to be an entertainment person on the radio. And his name is Rush Limbaugh. And he died this week.
Wow.
And he caused a lot of problems. He caused a lot of issues. He just did a lot of hate. But his show was actually pretty good. It was funny. But he put the same energy of believing in himself, putting his headphone on, starting with no fans, nothing, to being syndicated all across the country, to changing the way Republicans, however they think, to doing wonders in the field that he's in. But it shows you whether you're spreading hate or whether you're spreading love, the principles apply of focus, doing, creating, energy, alignment. And it works whether it's good or evil, because we tend to think just because we do good, we're going to be successful. And we should, it ought to be that way, but we need to focus on the energy and look and start studying history and see the same principles work for everybody who applies it. You know, we could say, well, bad stuff don't come to him down the road. It might not in this lifetime. Certain people could do bad and live a full life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doing bad stuff. And then there's some people who've done nothing but good, get killed early and go. And we always say, well, God needed a flower up there. We don't know the answer, but all you got to be, if you're listening to this, is be in alignment to what it is you be, have that energy, and people, whether it's good or bad, you can shine your light. I'd rather shine a bright light than a light. But you got to be realistic and know that the principles work. That's how Donald Trump became president. The principles work whether you Donald Trump or whether you Barack Obama. We just decide and go, well, God wanted him to be president. Well, God wanted him to be president. No, they wanted to be president, and they built the energy around themselves, and it became that. And it's the same. The principles apply, good or bad.
Wow, man, look, we could go on for hours. Like literally we could go on for hours, but I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for saying yes to being on my show. Like I'm literally starting.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Yeah, no, seriously, I'm literally starting from, as you would say, no, as one of my mentors would say, broke, busted, and disgusted. And when I say that, he know who I'm talking about. But man, just it only takes a pebble to create an avalanche, and I really do feel like.
Well, you know what? You broke into it. You busted through the wilderness, and you discussed it with everybody who tunes in. And that's DISUSSEDIT. So you are broke, busted, and disgusted in a different way. Broke in, busted in, and you discuss it on a daily basis.
Wow. And look, I just like I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of gratitude that and then the circle that we know for you know, especially as I'm going on through the rest of this this journey on my platform and then on my show, the circle that me and Tony are associated with, they're going to be guests on my show pretty soon, and it's like, you know, all you guys have such admiration for me. I just try to do the work, and you guys inspire me so much. So to have you on my show, and you know, I'm very humbled and honored that you would even consider doing it. So I really mean that. Thank you so much, Tony. I really appreciate it.
No, I'm grateful for you. I just thought, I didn't know if I was a legend or not. I just thought I was old, man, just chilling.
Are you kidding me? I could get somebody young and chilling. We're talking about Tony Haynes, man. Come on.
That surprises me. That's all cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, like I always say, that's it for Behind the Glass. Hey, 4th episode over. I'm out of here, man. Please